Hi everybody, it's Barb Kapla, and we're going to try a different format tonight to make a beautiful shaker card. It's been a long time since I've made one, and I thought it might be fun for us to review all the steps to make it. I think you'll enjoy making this, and I think whoever you make it for will have a pleasant surprise when they see it. And I'm trying a different format today, so I'm filming this video and on Zoom, and I have another additional camera, so you'll still be able to see the work that I do, and then but you'll also see my face. So nice to meet you. Good to know that I can do a face-to-face kind of opportunity here. So you might as well get going. I think we got some work to do, so let's start. I'm going to switch the camera, and you will see my work surface, I hope. And there it is. Okay, so this is the parameters that I have set myself. It's this wonderful Stampin' Up paper that we're using here. So this is the card, and I want to make sure that you all understand the kinds of materials that we're using today. So I'm going to do a quick review of the colors that we're going to be needing in the cardstock. This base of this card is Misty Moonlight, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5, okay? And we're going to score it down the middle at 4.25. Now, as you can see, this card is already completed. And then using this, we're also going to bring in some designer series paper from this particular sheet, and the designer series paper is called Snowflake Splendor designer series paper. And I wanted to bring a little bit of the purple in along with the blue, so that's why I chose that pattern. The next piece is Balmy Blue, and that's going to be the liner for where we put our sequins, and that will also be the stamp surface where the greeting that says Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas will be there. And let me see if I can move in a little bit so you can see that. Hang on a minute, I'm doing this there as we speak. There you go. So now you can see it better, huh? Okay, so Snowflake Wishes for Merry Christmas is what is stamped there. And then we're going to add a couple of separate snowflakes in the Misty Moonlight and also in the Balmy Blue. And then this particular piece here is Highland Heather. I picked that up, like I said, from the DSP. And I cut that out with the framelit that's included in the die set. And the die set is called So Many Snowflakes. And the only ones that we're going to be using today are these. So we have a large and a medium-sized snowflake. This snowflake that is totally different in appearance. And then we're also going to use this label and snowflake die so that it gives it an outline so that we can put our window acetate behind it, and then also a few little snowflake parts. So so let's get going on making this card, okay? Well, I guess I should show you the inside, shouldn't I? The inside says, may your season sparkle. And I've added just a couple of stamps in the Highland Heather and in the Balmy Blue with the snowflakes that are included in the stamp set. In the stamp set that we're using is called Snowflake Wishes. Okay, so I think we've reviewed all the paper and we've reviewed the dies and the stamp set, so I think we need to start. So let's do that. So here's the card base. And like I said, I've already cut it out, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. So we're going to take that and fold it, and then I'm going to get my bone folder to crease it, if I can find it. It's in here. There it is. Okay, so here's the bone folder. So let's crease that, make it look good. Okay, so, and this orientation for this card is horizontal. So we're going to start building. We're going to add a piece of the designer series paper. And this particular piece of paper measures 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, 5 1/4 across the top and 4 this way. And we're going to add that with the Tombow. I use Tombow snail. That's kind of what is available in the catalog. And I find that it really works well. I know that everybody has their own specific preference for glue tape, but that's mine. So we're going to add this and we're going to put it on so that we maintain that little border all the way around. And hopefully that border, when I finally settle this paper on, is even all the way around. So there we go. So that's that. And then we're also going to need a piece of paper that's going to be the base for the, and that's where this greeting is stamped, Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. This particular piece is the Balmy Blue, and it measures 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Now what we have to do to this piece is add this to the back. Okay, we're going to add that. That's this back piece here. But we need to stamp it first because it contains the greeting. So what I thought I'd do is to mark, get the die and mark where we should be stamping it with a pencil mark, because this particular thing cuts out this hole, and what's left and what we're going to use is the outside border. And in order for me to get that, I need to know where to stamp. So what I've done is I particularly have taken this and I've tried to make this even with this and these two sides even. And the orientation, now we've got to make sure we want to turn it this way, because the stamp that we're using is quite wide. It's Snowflake Wishes, and you can see where the S is. So we need to put this piece down here. So I'm going to stamp that kind of right here. And I'm going to make a mark to do that, so that when I take this die away, I will know where to line up the die to cut it and also to stamp. So I decided that we're going to use the Misty Moonlight ink to do this stamp greeting. And let me get the stamp here. Okay. So here's the stamp. We're going to ink it up. And we're going to stamp it kind of right where, right around that mark. I'm hoping that this will be kind of in the center. And I want to make sure that it's straight. And that it doesn't interfere with the die cut, so to speak. So we can always erase this little mark. And I'm hoping that when I put the die back on it, it's going to line up. So let's see how good I am. Okay, where did the die go? Oh, here it is. Okay, so we're going to cut this out now. And we're going to make sure that this is kind of squared in there. And boy, did I just make it. So I could have probably come down a little bit because this is a little bit uneven. But we're going to cut it out, okay, on the Big Shot. And now that we've stamped it, and I'm not going to show you that because I'm certain that you probably know how to die cut. But I've already done one. Oh, this is the background. I'm sorry. This is the die cut. Oh, God. This is the wrong. This is piece. This is the back. Okay. This piece is the piece that we're going to die cut. Oh, my goodness. And we're going to do this. This piece measures 3 by 4 1/4. And when you die cut it, you want to make sure that it will fit where you stamped. And that was the idea behind it. Not that I was going to cut this out. This is not going anywhere. This is solid. This is where all those little sequins and beads are going to be floating around. Okay, so this piece, again, 3 deep, 4 1/4 wide. This is Highland Heather. And we're going to die cut this with this, like so. And we're going to make sure that it's even so that when it's die cut out, this is the part that comes out. This is the part that stays, obviously, and makes a little frame. And that's what we want to frame so that you can see the little sequins and beads and stuff floating around. So there we go. So we've cut those 2 out. Now we're going to actually make the shaker part of the card. If you've never made that, it's not that difficult. It really isn't. But we need a certain piece of equipment. And the equipment that we need are these foam adhesive strips. They are sold by Stampin' Up. You get quite a few of them on one pad, and there are 2 pads of these in a package. And this is what we're going to put on here to raise this up so the sequins can slide around behind it, okay? But before we do that, we also need to put in a piece of acetate. This is your old-fashioned presentation acetate that teachers and stuff used to use in schools, and you may have used it in business. And this is what can be used on the back of this because you need to contain those sequins somehow. If you don't contain the sequins, you're shaking it and it's going to be flying all over. So we need to make this to go on top of this, and then those will rest on those strips. So we're going to add this acetate piece to the back of this, and I'm just going to use the regular snails to do that, the Tombow glue runner. And we're going to make this stick on here. This piece of acetate is 3 by 4 1/4 as well. And I find that it's a little easier if I just set it down on here rather than try to be cute with it. It works. Okay, so now this is clear and you can see through it. Now we're going to take this and raise it up by placing these foam adhesive strips on it. And I've got a package of them already open, so I'm going to continue to use those. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this now with the acetate behind it, and we're going to put these strips, which are like dimensionals, all along the outside border. And we need to make sure that when we place the strips in here, that we cover all of the openings along this frame, because if we don't cover all the openings, your shaker materials are going to shake out and they're going to fall all over, and that's not really a lot of fun to get a shaker card that falls apart as soon as you start shaking it. So we're going to take this off. These are strips and they just come off like that, and it's like a dimensional. It's 2-sided sticky tape, and this side isn't stuck for some reason here. Still got the liner on it. So let me take some of this off. Okay, because we have to stick this on here. And we want to make sure that, like I said, that we've covered all the holes. So we need this to extend from here over to here, like so. And then we're going to cut it. And then we're going to take it again, and we're going to turn it, and we're going to put it down again over here. We don't want to get it too far in. We kind of want it to be subtle so that nobody actually sees what's holding those sequins in there. And we're going to cut this. And then we're going to use this piece to go across the top. and being mindful of the fact that all of these have to hook, because if not, your sequins are going to fall out. And we're going to have one more piece, and it is a smaller piece. And we're going to peel the back off. And we're going to put it right here. Okay, so now that we've got this done, this piece will sit on top of this piece and will give room for your sequins and beads or whatever you put in there to shake around. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get all the things, sequins and things that we want to put in our card. So where are my sequins? Okay, hang on a minute. I put little tiny beads and sequins, and I've also used the new available snowflake sequins, and they're called snowflake sequins, but they have a little clear bead sequins in there, as well as little tiny snowflakes, and they also have I hope you can see this. There are also little silver rounds, and there's little stars that look like little stars. Anyway, we're going to take just a tiny pinch of this, and we're going to place this right in the middle of this card. Let me take a little bit more. Okay. And then to that, I'm also going to add these larger silver sequins. Now, these are sequins that Stampin' Up! Had used years ago. I bought so many of them, I still have them. So we're going to add a few of these. Some of them are large, some of them are on the smaller side. But why not use them? I just think that these large ones are kind of large. I'm trying to get some smaller ones in there because the large ones, they're fine, but they seem large. And I don't know if I like them that large. So we're going to take some of the large ones out, and I'm going to try to see if I can grab a couple more smaller ones. Yeah. Okay, where are you, small ones? Okay. And then to that, I also put in seed beads. Now, you're probably asking, why are you putting beads in there? Well, I find that the sequins in the cards that I've made in the past have static. And the cards, or the sequins, when they try to slide on the cardstock, sometimes have so much static because of the acrylic acetate piece of paper that they don't slide. So what I've done in the past when I made shaker cards is to put in a few of these little tiny seed beads. And these are a little bit more dense. They're a little heavier than normal sequins, and they will stay afloat and move the sequins around better if I just left the sequins in there by themselves. Okay, so now we're all set with this, and I'm going to push all this stuff toward the middle, because now we're going to do something to this before I put this on. These adhesive strips generally don't have any glue on the sides. The only glue is on one side and on the bottom side that you're going to stick to paper. However, I feel at times that the glue doesn't, that particular foam doesn't allow the sequins to shake around either. So what I do is I take the embossing buddy, which is that little dust bag, and what I do is I take the dust from that with just a kid's paintbrush, and I put the dust on the inside here to reduce the static and to take away if there is anything that is sticky inside there, it's not going to be sticky because we're going to be able to take that sticky away. So you should have some free-flowing sequins and beads because we're doing this. Now I'm going to take a baby wipe. We're going to clean up all of the other dust that has fallen on that acetate piece. And get my okay. So I'm just going to take a baby wipe and I'm just going to pick up what's ever left on that acetate so that it doesn't look dusty. We want it clean so people can see those sequins that we just put in there. You want them to see that, okay? So now that we've dusted everything, the sequins are in place, okay? So we're going to take off the liners, just like the dimensionals. These have liners too. And when I take this off, that surface that's left is sticky, and that's going to stick to this piece of paper. Okay. Here we go. So now I'm going to stand up for this because I want to make sure I hit this correctly. And I want to make sure that I've got it right sides. Which side am I doing here? I'm doing it right. Okay, so we're going to put this on here. And there's a little edge all the way around. And once this is down, it's down. So you really got to be pretty accurate with that. So now this is like a dimensional. It's popped up off this balmy blue surface. And now the sequins will shake around, as you can see, and they're free flowing and they don't get stuck anywhere. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we're going to put this in the middle of our card base. All right, so let's add that. And this is going to go right in the middle, and I'm going to have to stand up again to make sure I hit this right. I want it pretty equidistant from all sides. And I like the placement where that is. Okay, so that looks good, pretty good. There's your shaker card. There's essentially what it looks like. We're going to dial it up a little bit too. I've cut out additional sequins, and we're going to add additional snowflakes, and we're going to add those additional snowflakes here and here. So we're going to put balmy blue and silver down here. And then I have another one that's already cut out, and this is Misty Moonlight and silver up here. So we've got all the colors of the cards in this card represented from the DSP. And generally that's how I choose to make a card. I start with the idea of which stamp set, and then I choose the DSP, and then I choose the cardstock. And so we're going to attach these now to the corners, and I'm just going to take my glue runner and glue those in, because we're going to add a little bit of glitter at the end of all this, and the glitter will cover up the glue, this glue that's left on there. And this one I want to match because this snowflake inside matches exactly that blue, and I want to make sure that I hit it right. There we go. Okay, so that looks nice. And then we're going to add this one. And I know a lot of you have, you might have only one or two colors, but if Stampin' Up! Can use more than one color on their DSP, then I think it's okay for me to use it too. So we're going to add that snowflake there. Please make sure that you keep all your snowflakes in the inside outline of the card so that when you put it in an envelope, it will still fit. Because there's nothing more frustrating than making a beautiful card and then finding that it doesn't fit. Okay, so there you go. So the front of the card is essentially done. Wasn't too hard. This inside is very easy. The inside of the card looks like this. It says, "May your season sparkle." And we've added a few stamps of the snowflakes that come in the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. So we're going to stamp those insides right now. It does have a liner. The liner that I chose for this is Balmy Blue, and we're stamping on Whisper White cardstock. This particular liner measures 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 deep by 5 1/4 wide, and that's going to go inside here. So let's put that in there. Oops. And this will go here. I like the layers. I think it just adds to the weight of the card, and it really makes the card come alive. You can always stamp a single surface, but layering just seems to add another dimension, and I just like the way that looks. So we're going to continue doing my layering. So I decided also that because I stamped the front of the card in this Misty Moonlight ink, that I'm going to do the same and stamp the inside, May Your Seasons Sparkle, in the same ink. So we're going to put this right kind of in the smack dab middle of this card, right here. Let me stand up so I can line it up better. I want it to be straight. Okay, and there's that. And then we're going to add a few snowflakes. That's the only color, that's the only item that we're going to stamp in that. This we're going to stamp in 2 colors, Balmy Blue and this group of snowflakes here, Balmy Blue and Highland Heather. So this is the Highland Heather, and I'm going to stamp off and add those snowflakes in here. And then we're also going to clean this, and we're going to go to Balmy Blue. And we're going to stamp a little bit of Balmy Blue with that same stamp, stamped off. And we're going to add one there. And then we could put another one up here. There you go. And then we're going to take this big snowflake, and this one's going to be in Balmy Blue. So we're going to ink it up. And I stamped off on here as well. And then the last snowflake is this little more rounded one. And I'm gonna stick that right here in Highland Heather, stamped off right by the greeting. Okay, so we're still not done. We've stamped and all that stuff is done. We need to add it to the inside of the card. And then of course, as you can probably tell, with all the glistening going on, that there's some glitter on here, and we're going to put some glitter on the front. So let me show you how and where that's done and what I did to get that done. What I did is I took the Tombow glue, and I mixed it with a little bit of water and put it in this container, which has a very thin tip. And this allows a lot of good control with the glue that really sticks. And when glitter, I like glitter, but not a whole lot of it. And I think that when you control the glue, you don't get this glistening, blinding glitter image. It's just subtle enough to be pretty. Okay, so and that's essentially what I want to do. So I'm going to bring you in even closer so you can see. All right, so there's the inside, and we're going to add this glue. And what I've done is I haven't gone the whole. I just add dots of it randomly, and I've put a dot of glue on every tip and center of the snowflake here. And a couple of these little dots in here, and we've got to do this one. And then we're going to do the same with the other two snowflakes that are here. So, and it's just dots. And these are just dots, and I'm putting those here in these triangular, little spots. And then now we're going to add the dazzling diamonds that Stampin' Up has, and these are very pretty. And as this dries, it's really going to glisten, and it's going to be just lovely to look at. And that's the whole idea behind it. You want to please who it is that you are sending this lovely card to. Now what I've done, because these dots are still dots, I've taken my little glitter spoon here, and I'm going to flatten them so that they dry flat. Unless you want them to dry in little mounds like that, but I think it works. And then now we're going to add this to the inside of the card with the glue tape. And it looks pretty good, I think. Okay, so we're adding that in. And then we're going to dot the same glue in the holes in this, behind this shield that has the sequins and beads in it. So what I've done, because there's glue, those glue strips are behind it, and you can see some of them, and others you can't. So I'm just adding a little touch of glue that fills the hole. And I'm going to do it here as well, because you don't really want to see those strips and all the holes up here, which the snowflake is covering up a lot of them. And we'll fill this one out. And then we're also going to add and sprinkle on the glitter, and we are done. Talk about a simple card that looks elegant. People will wonder, oh my God, did you actually do that? And wasn't that hard? And how'd you get the sequins in there? And all kinds of other comments about the wonder of how this comes about. So here's the card. Here's the one that we just got done making. And here's the sample. So there you go. Two beautiful Christmas cards for you to use for this upcoming season. Thank you for watching. I hope you see me on Facebook on Monday night at 8 o'clock. And until you do, I'll be able to answer all of your questions and or comments at that point. And in the meantime, if you'd like to visit my page, I would appreciate a shout out or say hello, and I'd be happy to include you in my email newsletter. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next Monday. Good night. Bye-bye. Mm.